Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I cover nostalgic, obscure, otherwise strange content. Today, we're officially in holiday season. I don't know what holiday you celebrate, but I hope that you have a wonderful one this year, or whenever you're watching it. I hope you just have a wonderful day. Today, I'm kicking right off in the Christmas stuff because it's just after midnight on the 5th of December. And I know that I have a ton of Christmas stuff that I want to cover. And I never ever get to covering all of the stuff that I want to for Christmas in December because there's just too many things. I could probably just talk about Christmas movies for the rest of my life and never cover all of them. Every year I try to do at least one Christmas Carol retelling because there's so many of those. And today I want to talk about Mickey's Christmas Carol because it's honestly surprising that I haven't talked about it yet. Mickey's Christmas Carol. Pretty self-explanatory. It's a Christmas Carol with Mickey and friends, except Mickey doesn't play Scrooge because that would not be good for Mickey Mouse's non-evil image. Oh, and by the way, if you were hoping that I was saying that I was going to cover that Scrooge movie that's new to Netflix that everybody wants me to talk about, where Scrooge is hot now, I guess, that's not our video today. Might be later, but we'll have to see if I have the mental capacity for that. So you guys might know that I co-wrote and helped produce a version of A Christmas Carol myself last Christmas with my co-writer Andrew Fincham and our production team Seldom Science Studios, and we watched so many different versions of A Christmas Carol when we were trying to figure out how we wanted to make ours. Definitely watch this one. It was one of the first ones on my list because it's a personal favorite of mine. I watch it at least once every year. But I remember this one time that my co-writer was talking to me about, you know, we need to get this shot of Scrooge going up the stairs with a candle. And I was like, well, do we have any reference pictures for what we want to look like? And my guy sent me just a picture of Scrooge McDuck walking his feathered ass up a cartoon stairway. And I was like, I see what you're getting at. We can do that. Everybody knows what A Christmas Carol is about generally, right? You've got Ebenezer Scrooge, or in this case, Scrooge McDuck, because this was made in the 80s, and DuckTales was a big thing, and also, you know, come on, it was right there.
He was a good 'un. He robbed from the widows and swindled the poor.
They really play up how evil of a rich guy Scrooge is in this version.
In his will, he left me enough money to pay for his tombstone. Ha! And I had him buried at sea.
One thing that I love about versions of A Christmas Carol like this is that they allow for at least a little bit of dark humor in it, because that's really what A Christmas Carol was intended to be. Charles Dickens kind of wanted it to be like this satire of the rich, silly kind of ghost story for Christmas, because it used to be tradition to tell ghost stories at Christmas, and that's a tradition that we need to bring back.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
It truly is always spooky season, baby.
Good morning, Mr. Scrooge.
What are you doing with that piece of coal?
Just trying to thaw out the ink.
Bob Cratchit is Scrooge's very underpaid boss.
I was wondering if I could have half a day off.
My guy needs a union.
I pay you 2 shillings a day.
2 shillings and a halfpenny, sir.
Everybody in the Victorian era needed a union.
Money.
I didn't know Jeff Bezos was a duck.
Merry Christmas!
So Scrooge's nephew, played by Donald here,
Merry Christmas!
Well said, Master Fred.
comes in to give him a wreath and ask him to come to Christmas dinner, and he's like,
Are you daft, man? Is your wreath back?
what? Spend Christmas with family? How dare you? I can't make money doing that.
That Fred. Always so full of kindness.
Oh, and Mickey Mouse is playing Bob Cratchit. Did I say that? I don't think I need to say that. I think every living being can recognize Mickey Mouse, but just so you know.
Sir, we are soliciting funds for the indigent and destitute.
Also, the charity collectors are portrayed by Rat and Mole from The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Well, the Mr. Toad half. It's another thing that I watched a lot in my childhood and did a video about, somewhere linked.
You realize if you give money to the poor, they won't be poor anymore.
I think I saw this last speech being given at the last Republican National Convention.
And if you don't have to raise money for them anymore, then you would be out of a job.
We don't want to put your charity collectors out of work. Everybody loves their charity collectors. And we certainly wouldn't want to take away people's ability to choose their own charity collectors.
You work all your life to get money, and people want you to give it away.
But money isn't worth anything if you're not spending it on stuff.
And a bah humbug. I mean, a Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Shout out to the kids who grew up being insanely fiscally responsible and now have to teach themselves to not be anxious about money. That Victorian door knocker looks an awful lot like Goofy.
Bah!
Yep, this is the shot that my co-writer sent me when we were trying to figure out how to shoot our stare shot. This ominous and very ticklish shadow, who is obviously Goofy.
Gosh, kinda slippery.
This is Marley, the dead business partner of Scrooge, and he's come to give him a warning.
Marley, it is you.
Why was his first instinct to grab his nose?
Marley.
It's you, my friend, come back from the dead. Got your nose.
Remember when I was alive, I robbed the widows and swindled the poor?
Oh, you had class, Jacob.
Yep. No!
I like how Marley's here to warn Scrooge not to make the same mistake he did, but he clearly hasn't learned his lesson yet.
You will be visited by 3 spirits.
But that's only 2.
Do what they say, or your chains will be heavier than mine.
My mom's favorite version of A Christmas Carol is actually the movie version with Kelsey Grammer, the one that was adapted from that really popular play.
The dumb potato.
It's by no means my favorite one, but I will say that some of the songs are catchy because I'll be damned if anytime I see Marley in any version ever, do I not think about Jason Alexander singing Link by Link.
Link by horrifying link.
Watch out for that first.
So you're telling me I'm gonna retain my clumsiness in the afterlife? That's bullshit. I mean, I'm not gonna be this kind of ghost in the afterlife. I don't fuck with capitalism, but you know.
Spirits.
So now that Marley has given the warning about 3 ghosts that are going to come and try to teach Scrooge this lesson about being a decent person, the first one shows up. Jiminy Cricket, of course, is the ghost of Christmas Past, because of course he is.
It's about time. It's about damn time. Haven't got all night, you know.
The damn cricket always showing up and telling people to do good things.
If men were measured by kindness, you'd be no bigger than a speck of dust.
Jiminy Cricket says all correct things, don't get me wrong, but he's always given me the vibe of, like, hall monitor who would totally rat you out for having weed at church camp vibes. Is that fair?
I thought you enjoyed looking down on the world.
It's old Fezziwig's.
They just completely skip over the he was an orphan, sad and alone part in this story. I guess for time, but it is kind of funny because to me that was always one of the most important parts, especially to parallel his relationship with Tiny Tim. But Disney was just like, nah, we don't need that part. We go right to the part where he's a young worker with this very jovial boss who's being played by Mr. Toad himself. Can't believe they still had him under contract. The budget.
All of my very dearest friends.
A lot of these characters I see from Robin Hood. I see more characters from Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
There's lovely Isabel.
And Daisy plays his would-be fiancé, of course.
My eyes are closed, my lips are puckered, and I'm standing under the mistletoe.
I love how they made Daisy super cool, or honored how cool Daisy is, I should say, in the DuckTales reboot.
You're also standing on my foot.
Hold on, but this is weird casting because Daisy is Donald's girlfriend and he's Donald's uncle. I know she's not Donald's character's girlfriend, but like the Disney tea is hot. It's a little bit awkward.
In 10 years' time, you learn to love something else.
I'm foreclosing the mortgage.
Alright, so he was really in love, but now he's not because he has money.
You loved your gold more than that precious creature, and you lost her forever.
He was on that alpha male grind too hard. He alpha mailed too close to the sun, and now he doesn't have a girlfriend.
I can no longer bear these memories. Take me home.
Jiminy Cricket takes him home, but not before one more emotional kick to the gut while he's down.
Remember, Scrooge, you fashioned these memories yourself.
You brought this on yourself. I don't feel bad for you.
3, 5, 4, 4.
Don't judge me, and please don't take away my Disney fan pass. I've made it this far as a low-key Disney adult, and honestly, now that Bob Chapek is fired, I'd like to stay on the train. I'm not sure where this character is from. Maybe, is he the giant from, like, Mickey and the Beanstalk? I never saw that one, but I'm just guessing.
Why would the ghost of Christmas present, that's me, want to eat a distasteful little miser like you?
I feel like I saw one clip distantly in my past. I feel like every time I ponder a question at all in these videos, everybody in the comments is just like, I can't believe you aren't sure about this one piece of trivia. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry for being born.
It's the food of generosity, which you have long denied your fellow man.
Anyway, he shows up to show him the sins of his present, now that he is thoroughly reflected on how much of a screw-up he was in the past.
This is the home of your overworked, underpaid employee, Bob Cratchit.
He sees Bob Cratchit and his little family, and they're just barely getting by.
We must wait for Tiny Tim.
Coming, Father. I'm coming.
And Tiny Tim is sick.
If these shadows remain unchanged, I see an empty chair where Tiny Tim once sat.
And he's like, yeah, stop being a dick or that kid's gonna die. It's gonna be all your fault.
Where did they go?
Yeah, this version is only a half hour long, so the pacing is quick. So now here we are directly at the Ghost of Christmas Future.
Who are you?
Very different from my portrayal of the Ghosts of Christmas Future.
Come on. Come on, come on. I need to get the face. Come on.
But the Ghosts of Christmas Future does what they always do. They take him to a graveyard and scare the shit out of him.
What will happen to Tiny Tim?
I told you, if you didn't shape up, Tiny Tim would die. Look at Mickey Mouse crying. Now the internet has that still to use in like a million memes.
I've never seen a funeral like this one. Aye, no mourners, no friends to bid him farewell.
Why did even that weasel have a bad Peter Lorre impression for a voice? There were way too many of those. I've literally lost count of how many we've seen just in the stuff we've covered on this channel.
Whose lonely grave is this?
Why, yours, Ebenezer.
Ah, yes. Pete is the Ghost of Christmas Future. That fits. Do you know that Pete's supposed to be a cat? I never knew that. Makes sense, because he and Mickey Mouse have beef, but, like, why are we all so mean to cats, Disney? I just talked about this in the last video. Cats are fine. They're just grouchy.
The richest man in the cemetery.
And if I'm supposed to think he's evil, he's just yeeting a corrupt billionaire down to hell. I think we can all get on board with that. No! Like, it would be a different thing if he personally killed Scrooge, but he's just like, just saying, if you don't shape up, the elevator's on its way down, buddy.
Let me out! Let me out!
Alright, so now he wakes up in his room and realizes that none of these terrible things have actually happened yet, and it is still Christmas. Christmas morning. He scares the shit out of all these poor doves.
The spirits have given me another chance.
And then he's like, yay, I'm gonna be a good person now.
I can't go out like this. There,
I mean, honestly, I've gone out looking worse, so do what you gotta do.
Merry Christmas to one and all.
I don't like how much Scrooge's pajama game is similar to mine. It's just like a big oversized shirt.
50 gold sovereigns.
He goes and gives a ton of money to charity, and accidentally pantses Molly. Poor Molly.
100 gold pieces, and not a penny more.
But you know, it's the thought that counts.
Ah, nephew.
Aw, it's Cyril pulling Donald's... I almost said sleigh. It's not a sleigh, it's a carriage. Donald isn't Santa, at least not yet.
I'm looking forward to that wonderful meal of yours.
He's like, hey nephew, I will be at your house for Christmas. And I don't hate you. And his nephew's like, yay!
And now for Cratchit.
So instead of just going straight to Cratchit and apologizing, Scrooge decides to play a little game with him.
Why, Mr. Scrooge! Merry Christmas! Well, won't you come in?
And act like he's pissed, just to scare the shit out of poor Bob.
Merry Christmas. Huh. I have another bundle.
He's like, let's fuck with Bob one last time. For old time's sake.
Toys!
Yes, toys. No.
Tiny Tim's like, look, he brought us a bunch of stuff, and then they realize that he's a good person now.
I'm giving you a raise and making you my partner.
Tiny Tim says the thing.
And God blesses everyone.
And on that happy note, the cartoon ends. Every time I watch this one, I kind of feel like it could be a little bit longer, but honestly, short and sweet. And what more can you ask for, you know? This is just a classic that lots of people have asked me to add to the catalog on the channel. Lots of us remember it fondly. I know I certainly do. It's just a nice, abridged Disney Christmas Carol, you know? It's another one where it's like fun to point out cameos if you're a diehard Disney fan and you've seen a lot of these old movies. I do sometimes wonder how they went about choosing the most random selection of characters to show up in this special. Something tells me they were just the characters that they weren't particularly, like, marketing super heavy, and they were like, nah, we still have these IPs, throw them in that Christmas thing we're doing. But I have no idea. But yeah, that's it for this video. I think it's going to be kind of short and sweet, just like this special. But thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing. Everything you do to support this channel means the world to me. If you're new here and you're a fan of nonsense, maybe consider sticking around because I post nonsense all the time. And remember, did I forget part of the outro? I feel like I forgot part of it. Maybe I didn't. And remember, my name is Avery. I'm a YouTuber if you say so because thanks to you guys, this is technically a YouTube channel. Bye. This is what I get for filming really late at night. I just shouldn't do it. But I do.